Hello, everyone. It is me, Demetra K. Hope you're having a great day. As you can see, I am not here by myself. I brought some help to have this conversation with you all. Right now, we have Brother Kellen, Sister Emma, and Sister Clarissa is here, although you can't see her at the moment. And we're expecting one other person, Miss Rosemary. But in the meantime, of course, we are here on the African Diaspora News channel. But normally, you can find me on my own channel, the Demetra K Show, 5 p.m. Central Time, Sunday through Tuesday. And then I'll let everybody else tell you where they can find you can find them and all that other stuff. But basically, the conversation we're going to have is, where are all of the good Black women? Do they even exist anymore? Now, I know that is a loaded question, and we are all going to tackle that. But the reason why we are having this conversation, a panel, is because we've had panels before, and we've had people say, hey, when are y'all going to do the panel discussion again? And so we're like, okay, we're going to do that. And oftentimes we're asked to speak about relationships, but that's kind of a wide open field. And I'll tell you one thing, when we were trying to decide which angle we were going to go from, is like, yikes, it was just all over. So, I will not say we, I mean, I deduced it down to this. Because I'll say, for me personally, I always get this question. I know that Sister Emma gets it, and all of the other ladies. Oh, and Renelle Way is supposed to join us on here. So if she shows up, we'll tackle that. So that is what we are going to ponder. But in the meantime, I want to show y'all a promo really quick. And I will say, normally when it's me, I try to, answer and all the questions that I can. Not going to be able to do that today, although I will jump in and out of the comment section to see if you have a question that's apropos to what we're saying. I would love to read it, and so we can address that as well. But stay tuned.
Unity, reunion, parade, cookout, line dance party, backyard, barbecue, fish fry, vegan soul, Black business, food truck, networking, outdoor, concert, music, festival, celebration of the year.
It is an amazing experience. You have people from all over the country.
This is my second year attending, and they over-delivered.
So if you haven't come before, you need to come.
Hey, you know what? I'm just out here vibing.
Get tickets now at OhioBlackExpo.com.
So hope to see you all there. Of course, we got other things coming up the road we'll talk about at a later time. But with those that we have here, Sister Emma and our Brother Kellen. Sister Emma, you want to introduce yourself? Of course, you don't need to do that. They know who you are. But just, give them a refresher course.
Hello, ADNC family. As I always say at the top of my lives, thank you so much for tuning in to us. I am Emma Ansa. I'm coming to you live from Canada, the Great White North, as they like to call it. And I am here on ADNC Monday to Friday doing live streams and pre-records on the weekend. I also have my own channel, Emma Ansa News with Purpose. And I'm there Monday to Friday as well. And on Saturday nights, I do live streams at 8 p.m. I hope you all come over and hang out with me there as well. I am very grateful to be doing this conversation. I've been wanting to do it for a while, so I'm excited and looking forward to really getting into it. Let's go.
Absolutely, Brother Kellen. Listen, most of y'all have seen the name Kellen in and out of the comment section here and there, and I think some of y'all know who he is. But Kellen, who are you?
I am Kellen Cash Coleman, however you met me, and I have been doing this type of work for over 2 decades, and I've been able to serve this platform for over a decade. And I just serve as the business manager. I like to say I'm a man of few words, but then lightning may strike. So I'm always talking just behind the scene. That's me in a nutshell. I have my own platforms, Diversified Game Podcast, where I like to talk about business, talk to 2 millionaires or entrepreneurs a week, depending. Sometimes they go out of business. And I also have Kellen Cash, my own YouTube, where it's like my personal diary. But yeah, I'm here to serve, and that's the purpose. Make sure people's money, their minds, and all that are all together.
Absolutely. And again, I'll jump in and out of the comment section here or there. I already see some doozies. Lord have mercy. I want to say this right off the bat. This is not to cause confusion, division, or any of those other things. It's really a conversation, a learning process, and all that. So hopefully we can learn something from y'all. Y'all can learn something from us. All right. So we want to tackle the question of where are all the good Black women and do they even exist anymore? Now, I will tell you, just for me personally, I have been asked that question a copious amount of times by a lot of brothers, right? They claim, oh, we're seeking a good Black woman. They don't exist anymore. And I'm like, well, I know a lot of good Black women, right? They're all over. Now, I personally have an answer as to where the good Black women that I know are, right? And I consider myself to be a good Black woman, duh, right? I guess that depends on who you ask. But I think the first question we should ask is, what is good? Like, what is the definition of a good Black woman? Any one of y'all want to try to answer that? Y'all can answer that in the comment section as well.
I mean, isn't that subjective? And, everybody has their core fundamentals that they look for in a partner, right? I know for me, I'm going to echo what you said, Sister Demetra. I think I'm a good Black woman, and I know many good Black single women. But everybody has a type. Everybody has a certain, list, if you will, of what they're looking for in a partner. And, it's not a cookie cutter thing. So for me personally, I feel like people shouldn't paint all Black women with a broad brush and say they're all bad. And some of it may be based on their lived experiences. Maybe they had one bad relationship or more than one. And then they've decided, okay, I'm going over to the white side because you Black women are X, Y, and Z. And so I guess my point is that it's very subjective. You cannot, you have your choice. You've got your type. You've got what you want. And what you want may not be what I want, or Demetra wants, or John wants, or Tyrone wants. So it's kind of not really one answer, if you will, to say what it is. What do you say, Sister D?
I agree with you, but I want to get Brother Kellen's example. Do you know any good Black women?
Well, I'm married to a great one, a superwoman at that, for almost 2 decades, and I've known her for 2 decades. And just so before anybody tries to blame, the ladies or say, why are we talking about this? I read too much, and I was asking the group a question about having this type of space for women, for y'all ladies to talk and let the audience know about y'all see as the help. So can I ask something? Can I ask a question? If you don't mind, can I do that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay. People say they want a good woman, but they don't know whether you are a Christian or if you maybe practice Islam. It's always starts with God, right? And you have to first want to serve and be obedient and be patient to God. But a lot of times guys don't know what a good woman is, especially if you're not in any type of faith, or have any type of morals or principles. So my question is, they say, oh, Sexy Red is a good woman or Michelle Obama is a good woman, but they don't know what a woman wants. So I'd love to know if we could educate them. Okay, whatever that is, like Emma said, it could be so many different things to so many different people. But what do women want? Because men are guessing, and men spend more time a lot of times under their hood or in a sport than they understand the woman that they have or the woman that they want. And they don't know if she needs 87 gas, premium, or if she's electric. So can y'all let me know and the other audience, know what do women want? Because y'all said already, y'all are good women. I would concur.
Well, I tend to think that I'm a hybrid, right? I need some premium gas and I'm electric. But again, that depends on who you ask. I always find that question, what do women want? It's very loaded. it's almost like stepping on a landmine, if you ask me, because do we really even know, right? I may want something different than Emma wants, and vice versa, whatever it is. So to me, it just depends on the woman. Now, I think, especially in and y'all can help me out with this, in the space and age of the internet, it almost sometimes get defined as one thing. Or when you say, well, men, what do you want from a woman? It's usually three things, and I'll let you all fill in the blanks. Okay. But it's like, do all men want that from a woman? Do all men want a woman to cook, clean, and some men may want something different, or there's more. I don't know. So I just think it goes from woman to woman. Now, if you're asking me what I want, especially in a man, I just think it's simple. you know, uh, at least meet me halfway. I think we're past the point of, especially in the conversation of, a man's supposed to be doing all the providing and all of that. I don't know, depending on what he's got going on. I'm like, just meet me halfway. Okay. Meet me halfway. Be honest, be consistent, the regular stuff. I'm not one of those women, and I no shade to the women that needs a man that's a 6 foot, and all the other sixes and all of that. I don't need all of that, okay? Because I had a man that was over 6 feet, and so yeah, I just need him to act like he got some sense. That's what I want. Act like he got some sense. But that's subjective. Emma.
And for me, I hate to start going listy, but I do have a little bit of core fundamentals, as I said before, which is, for me, I love somebody that's a good communicator. That is important to me. You got to be able to communicate, because one thing that I've experienced in my past life of being, on the dating circuit, is a lot of men lacked that ability. And instead of really communicating about whatever it is they're feeling, sensing, whatever, they don't do it. And then what happens is, oftentimes they act out. So instead of communicating what's going on, you go and you do some dumb crap. Let me just say that. And then things get all messed up in the relationship. So for me, I would like a good communicator. That's important. Secondly, if, like Demetra said, just be honest. Be honest. I don't want to hear down the line, or I'm getting a phone call from some random woman who said, how long you been talking to my man? Because I just, you're busting my whole life apart. And I'm speaking from experience, okay? This is like a verbatim conversation. So, and then the man is like, well, I'm just not happy with her, and I'm only there for the children, and I live in the basement, and be honest. Be honest. Be honest. If you are in something, allow that to play its course. Be a man. Be honest with your partner if you're not happy or whatever the case may be, before you start something with somebody else. So honesty, communication, a great sense of humor. And like Demetra said, you don't have to be 6'6", because like you, Sister D, I had the 6'6" man too. And that didn't work out. Okay. Because one of the things you learn when you get to a certain age, me being in my middle age now and really knowing what I want, is that you tend to, in your younger years, you're looking at aesthetics. Oh, he's got to be built and buff and blessed and all of those things. And he better be 6'5" or no, I want a good heart. Have a good heart, be a good person, be law abiding also. Okay. Let's not hear about a record when we do a public records check. Okay. I'm just saying, another experience. I'm going to zip it for now.
Well, okay, and I thank y'all for answering that. Can I ask, in your relationships, or even some of your friends and family members, how many guys, when they're coming into a relationship, really ask women those questions? Because a lot of times, if we see online, even TV, it's, oh, just provide. As long as you provide and you're not cheating and you're not beating somebody, it's okay. But a lot of guys don't even know what a proper gift is. And I know I've been wrong a few times in getting insensitive gifts. because, you say, who doesn't want an apron? And, after watching Family Matters, and Carl got her Harry at the trampoline. So you have to sometimes make mistakes as a young fool to really start asking questions because, so how many times have men asked y'all that who wanted to be involved with you or what you've seen? Do most men ask those questions?
That's another problem is there's a lack of wanting to get to know. That seems to be something that's fleeting. And that was one of the things that really attracted me to my hubby which was, there was a period of time where I was single for maybe 6 or 7 years. I was living my best life. I was traveling. I was doing me, and I was fine with it. I kind of had almost resolved myself to the fact that I was probably just going to be single. And it was a choice. It was by choice at that point. But when he came along, he had that where, he was literally asking questions, really asking those questions. So then when the time come, to your point, Kellen, he knew I don't like flowers. I'm not one of those people. Don't bring me flowers. I don't. I like things that are keepsakes. Give me a card that's heartfelt, that I can see that you took the time to get it. So all of those kinds of things he had. And so that is something that really doesn't happen very often. And I've not been out in the dating world for a lot of years, so I don't know whether it's changed, but I will say back in my heyday, like the questions that they would ask is, so what you got on? Or you'll get a text that just says WYD. What? Like, are we not even using our words? So, I don't know what it's like now, but I'm just saying they didn't do it back in my heyday.
Kalia, we say, and some of the people that we have on here, you can't see them, but you can hear them. Kalia, are you there? Not yet, anyway. So when she hears us, see what she wants to add to this. But I want to go back to, hey, Jojo, how you doing? I want to go back to the original question as to where are the good Black women? Well, my answer is this. Hey, Mad Dog, because people always ask me that. When I say people, I mean the brothers. Where the good Black women at? And I say, well, for one, I'm one of them, but I am not dating, right? And that's by choice. I know that's kind of cliche too. I'm single by choice. Well, I mean, yeah, unless you're hostage somewhere. No, but for real, I'm single by choice, and it doesn't have anything to do, with men at all. This is a me thing, right? Because I'll be 55 soon, and I think in my dating life, this is the longest I've been single. And I'm like, hey, you know what? This is pretty cool. But I will say, as far as the good Black women, oh, there's a lot of them out there, a lot of them. But you know where they are? They on a shelf. They by themselves, and they're by themselves by choice for whatever reason. The good Black women that I know, all the Black women I know are good, but they got various reasons. Whether it is, I'm tired of being played with, I'm tired of being lied to, I'm tired of, as you said, Emma, somebody calling me talking about you with my man, and I got those phone calls too, and I'm like, well, I didn't even know he was your man, but he can be all yours now. You ain't got to worry about me, right? So there's a lot of good sisters who are just like, yeah, well, we want to be in a relationship, but I can always tell people, and I'm very open and honest about what I've been through in relationships. Like I said, I am writing a book. I got like 1 page written. And it's a hell of a story to tell, but a lot of us are just more or less like, at this age, I can't sustain another heartbreak. The last one I went to was like, man, are you kidding me? Like, I moved, like, seriously, I moved from California, right? I'm a West Coast girl. I came to Houston. If I would have closed my eyes and put my finger on the map, it wouldn't have chose Houston. Like, no shade to Houston, right? But I'm here. And so, of course, I get here and it's like, what you mean? Oh, what? What you mean to somebody else, huh? Like, you don't just get your knapsack, like a hobo and say, I'm going across the country to get on the train, like a hobo. I'm here in Houston, baby. Like, you move, okay? My whole family is in California, okay? So with that, I was like, okay, clearly I got to do some adjusting. And I decided I wanted to be single because, like I said, there's two things that are going to happen. If I get in another relationship, and it's a little bit of fear speaking, it's not the total reason, but if I get in another relationship and something like that happens again, two things are going to happen. One or two, I'm going to jail and you going to hell, okay? Or I'm probably going to die from a heart attack because I don't have the age or the bandwidth to sustain that. Like seriously, I'm very open. I don't mean to hog the time. I'm going to tell you, people don't understand heartbreak. You think most people think, I'll just get over it. I was told, just pick up the pieces. Okay, that's what I was told. Okay. But while I was picking up the pieces, listen, your girl ain't never had to go to no therapy. My daughter's like, you need to go see somebody. I was like, you think so? She said, yeah, you need to talk to somebody. My hair was falling out. Listen, I draw the line when I start going bald head, okay? Hair was falling out. My kidneys was like, it was a lot. It was just like a shock, you know? So I'm like, yeah, I'm good on that. I'm going to just sit and be cute by myself, you know? So there's a lot of good Black women out there, and a lot of them got my story, and they just like, get her to do it.
But answer the question too, Demetra, please, because you almost had me dancing on pick up the pieces, so, please answer the question so I don't have to sing the average white band.
What, did I pick up the pieces?
No. The question that Emma had asked, like, do men typically, do they ask you, what do you want? Do they care about what you want in a relationship? Or have you seen, are majority men asking women, what do you want?
Well, like Emma, I ain't been in a dating space in a minute, right? I don't do dating apps, and I just ain't even been out there. I ain't even stuck no baby toe in the water at all. So I don't know, but typically I think men ask you, but I'm speaking about my experience. I ain't speaking about nobody else. I don't think they really care. I don't. I think it's a conversation starter. So, oh, what are you looking for? And then guess what? Then they're going to be that person, right? But the problem is, and it's not just women, I think men and women don't really know what they want. I told y'all, and I tell the story a lot. I have a friend who is about a little older than me. She's dating a man in his 70s. And do you know this joker told her, I'm not ready to settle down yet? It's like, bro, you got one foot in the grave and one on a banana peel. What is you waiting on? You out there 70, like, I know the Grim Reaper having conversations with you, but you ain't ready to settle down. But you want to treat Glodadine like a trampoline? No. I mean, unless you want to be treated like a trampoline, I'm not judging you. It just can't be me. So I don't think people really know what they want.
If a man is 70 and he's still not settling down, that's like the level of red flag. It's like next level. Like what are you actually doing at the age of 70 that you think you have enough time to continue to do? That is insane. And that definitely speaks to somebody who really doesn't know what he wants. But to just going back to what you said, Demetra, too, like you said, you haven't been in the dating world at all. But I also find that a lot of women, when we get to a certain age and we've been single for a while, like we're in our 50s or whatever, we become very comfortable in that space. And the idea of allowing somebody into your space that may bring their baggage and their stuff, and baby mama drama and whatnot, it's just not appealing. You get to that point where it's like, and I was there before he came along. I was there and I was good. And then I would hear from my friends, my female friends in particular, talking about, oh, I just met this man. And then his girlfriend called me, or I met this man and he said he's not looking for anything serious. He just wants to date. And, we as women, for the most part, at least the ones I know, they're not looking to just date. They're looking for somebody to share their life with and have children and all that good stuff. So that's the other thing. You get to a point where it's like, I don't want to bother. And like you had a major heartbreak. So did I. You moved from California to Houston. I moved from Toronto to Niagara. And I was like, I'm out. I need to go start a whole new life, start fresh. I don't want any memories over there. And then once you get into that comfortable space, you're good in that space. You're really good.
And McQueen, I think you asked a interesting question, and I think on this side it's hard to read things. Sometimes we say who hurt him. So in that regards, yeah, it's cliche when they say hurt people, and I really think that that's true. A lot of times people don't unpack the hurt, and they go around hurting other people because they think that's normal or whatever it is. Which is why I'm a big advocate for people to heal, whether you need to go sit on somebody's couch and understand why you operate the way you do and, all of those things. But definitely, I can't tell people to do. But if that was me, I wouldn't be jumping in and out of relationships, causing that much trauma. Because then when you watch, Deadly Women or something like that, or Locked Up on Cell Block H, where a bunch of women have, or, whatever, then it's like, I mean, you could have just sat on somebody's couch and you wouldn't be pushing up daisies. I'm just that's just my frame of mind.
Well, you know what? That 70-year-old man and what many people, after a certain age, you shouldn't have the Peter Pan syndrome, or use clinical terms, the arrested development. Like, some people haven't grown, they're stunted. They stopped at 15 and they haven't done their work. And so that's what, a lot of this emotional immaturity is. And even I see in the comments people saying, well, I'm all for foreign women, or they're all in Ethiopia like they've been. And if they have been to Ethiopia, you would know, just like many countries where your money expands and elevates, that you're just a trick. You're just a bit. You're a trick. You're there to pay a bill. Yes, the women in Ethiopia and everybody in Ethiopia and Kenya is very nice, very polite. But if your money was to stop today and you were making Ethiopian money, it wouldn't be the same treatment that you get. And we get an American privilege no matter what color we are. And the thing about it is, I've been to these places. I've helped bring people to these places. I invest and have a home in some of these places. So I don't talk from just, talk. And because I see in the comments, people, their own hurt coming out. Oh, the foreign women. I'm married to a foreign woman. I can tell you, women are women. Who are you? And if you ask a lot of people outside of their work and what they do, they can't answer that without a stutter. And when I said arrested development, y'all look that up. I'm not talking Mr. Window. I'm not talking Tennessee. I'm not talking, people every day or everyday people. I'm a dyslexic, so bear with me. But that's what the big issue is. People haven't done their work. And for all that they follow Kevin Samuel, somebody, thanks to O'Shea Duke Jackson, I was able to consult, because he told Kevin he needed to talk to me. Kevin told y'all, do the work. And a lot of y'all still haven't gone into therapy. And you're just over here on, YouTube talking. Turn off the YouTube and go get into therapy at some point after this show.
Yeah, a lot of people a lot of people jump on the best way to get over somebody is to get underneath somebody. And that's just not the way. I mean, that's the way for a lot of men love to do that. But and therapy is the best course of action. Go get yourself healed. You cannot rely on somebody else to make you happy. You have got to do the inner work and make sure that you're whole before you get involved with somebody else. And that's the importance of spending some time by yourself, especially like with me. I was in a relationship for 17 years before I was single. So I needed to just, go back into this world and figure out even the littlest of things, like how to sleep by yourself at night, not having that warm body next to you, all of those things. They were all adjustments, but you got to take the time to do so. And the other thing I want to say, it's a little bit of a side note, which is this stereotype with women that just because you're single for a long period of time, it's like, what's wrong with you? Something must be wrong with you. You're single all this time and you don't have any children, and you know something's wrong with you. You know how many times I've heard somebody say to me when I was single, are you psycho? And I'll be like, wait, what? And then it just makes you want to be like, I'm just going back into my shell. Every time you try to dip your little toe back out there and you hear something, your tolerance level becomes like -0 for any nonsense, right? So you gotta heal yourself. You do. Everybody needs to. And that goes for women as well.
Yeah, and to your point about the whole, hey Rosemary, what's going on with you? To your point about I've heard that a lot too, even in my 50s. You got to get under somebody to get over somebody. It's like, listen, I'm not trying to take no unnecessary trips to the clinic, okay? Because they say, especially not that I'm going there, but in a nursing home, they really need some itching powder and all this other stuff going on, okay? um, but
And
yeah,
isn't there a high rate of stuff in Houston that's going on?
oh
Like,
yeah, I'm like, how y'all get some of that stuff hot and popping that it was extinct almost, and y'all done brought it back. So yeah, no, and as I always say, for those of y'all who don't follow me, my old lady name for myself and others is Gloda Dean, right? And as I say, Gloda Dean is too old to be getting you know what, baby, I got to get up and go to work. Let me walk you to your car. I got to go. So I'm not gonna be doing a walk of shame in my 50s. And as I always say too, and I know it's certain things. Listen, if I didn't already say, we got an app going on, African Diaspora News Channel app. This is the conversation that we really need to be having. We can only have that on the app, and another time we will have that. But we all know what that function is and what it feels like, especially at this age. And as I always say, dear brother, whoever you may be, if you ain't talking about going down the aisle, it ain't got to be with me. But if that's not where your mind is, then nah, we ain't gonna be getting on no trampoline together nowhere. No trampoline, no backseat, no nowhere. Okay, you need to be putting the ring on it. And if that's not what you're trying to do, then there's a lot of other women that'll let you do it. It just ain't gonna be me, right? Especially you talking about, I'm not ready to settle down. You done got your AARP and you got your tombstone already halfway written out. You ain't ready to settle down. So you want to take me around the block before you go? Get you a car, homie. Rosemary, what's going on with you?
Hey, I'm just listening, and I think that this is such a needed topic because people are just playing with their life, with their time. And when it comes to Black people and Black relationships, it's amazing to me how I'm not even going to start with the health, but I really want to go with the health because Dimitri, you kind of touched on it with all kinds of STIs and stuff like that going on at people's mature ages. But before we even get to that stage, I believe that the statistics show that people are becoming less and less enthusiastic just about living in general. They've come up with a term called anhedonia. I think that that's the correct term. And that just means that people lose pleasure. They lose any kind of get up and go, any kind of motivation, any kind of enjoyment of life. And people are becoming more and more isolated. And that is their go-to for anything when it comes to what they're going to do on a day-to-day basis. So if they don't have to be somewhere, they're not going to be anywhere. So it's very interesting because if you have a lack of commitment, people just want to stay in their homes. And how are people supposed to find spouses, let alone just a partner to be with? How is that supposed to happen? And I find it very interesting that people are just sort of going along with that because the testosterone rate levels are going down. They've plummeted. So even if men are available to speak to women, do they want to? And if they want to, are they going to? Do they get a chance? Because come on, women are very, very picky. Women want to have the man that has it all a lot of the time. The statistics show that I think it's something as crazy as the top 2% of men get the majority of women. So you've got 98%. That might be a really high percentage, but you've got a huge percentage of men who have never dated, who are still virgins, who are living solitary lives and becoming quote unquote incels because they cannot find a woman to be with them. So it's a lot of things that are coming together. I heard what you were saying too, Emma, about learning to be alone again and learning to heal. And if you're walking around as an unhealed person, finding another unhealed person where there's no enthusiasm, where there's no motivation to get out there, then it just makes you wonder, are we surprised that we're in this situation right now with men and women, especially Black women and Black men? What do you guys
Well,
think?
that's why that book, Extinction by Dr. Deborah S.O.H., for those of you who want to Google and go to your library and find it possibly for free, is very, it's important because with the sex robots that are coming, it's only going to get worse, depression as well. And, in that book and in other charts, like there are people who do research, they're just not talking. They've done their data. It's like only 12% of women want that muscle bound person. Because I saw someone in a comment say, "Oh, they want all Michael B. Jordan from the Sinners," and it's like, no, you're saying that, but you don't. That's like saying all we want is Beyonce or Cardi B, and most guys just want somebody that they can lean on, especially in them hard times. My parents are passed. I've had 2 surgeries where I've had to be put under, right? Because you get old and you try to do CrossFit, and the doctors say we're repeat customers. Or you ride bulls, right? I was in Lubbock. I had to get on a bull to wear the hat. And I didn't get hurt, but things happen. So again, having that data, but also, and you ladies all talked about your age, which is better to be your age and growing older than to be in the grave, which many people didn't make it to that point, right? And y'all all still got it. Black don't crack if you don't smoke it. Let that be a key. But men go through their own climateric, and I always mess it up because I think I'm scared of it. When you talked about low T, and we always say menopause and menopause, but most men can't even spell menopause, and they don't know what it is maybe till it hits their household. Can y'all talk about what y'all know about menopause and the truth about it, and how you've even seen your bodies and how men deal with that as well? Because buying the Ferrari ain't going to solve anything. Again, go get some help, and I'm going to be quiet.
Well, I've been in menopause now for I want to say 6 years. And of course, I'm experiencing the main one that most women get, which is the hot flashes and the night sweats. And then from that came the weight gain and just different things going on with your body. So many different things. And it's one of those things where when you're going through that transition, there's also a psychological thing that happens too. And if you're with a partner, it's important to have a partner that is, first of all, patient, definitely, and is willing to understand what it is a woman goes through, or at least educate himself. And I'm fortunate to have that. But I do know a lot of people who have partners who, it literally ends their relationship, because I will even say, even for me, like every month I want a divorce, so, and it's just because of just everything I'm going through. And it's true. I even say to him, the other day, he's like, do you ever feel like you don't want to be with me? I'm like, every month. Like every month, I want you to leave. I don't want to be with you. I want you to move. I don't want to be around you, and the smallest things annoy me. And, we go through a lot. The only thing I will say is, if you are in a relationship and you have a partner, it's one of those things where just please bear with us. Please educate yourself. Please listen to us when we're trying to explain to you. You may never fully understand what a woman goes through, but just, just bear with us and listen to us and give us space and accept my apologies, because I've had to make many. And just it's a lot. And some women don't have hot flashes. Some women don't experience a lot. Some women do. I unfortunately have experienced a lot. But I'll let Demetra and Rosemary talk about it too, because I know they've going through it or have gone through it.
Well, I'll say this before, because Rosemary, she's the health expert, and I will say this. Listen, I got my trusted dusty fan. Yes, I do. Because when I'm on here, y'all see sometimes, boy, I just be right. I always joke with y'all about my sweat rings. I can't hide the sweat rings. So yeah, but I will say this. I'm also in menopause. Been going through that since I was 48. I'll be 55 next week, y'all. Yes, I will be. But I will say, not only do men not know about menopause, a lot of women don't know. My sister, okay, she went to the doctor and thought she had cancer because she was sweating. And the
Yeah.
doctor said, those are hot flashes. She was all, oh, I'm dying. I was like, you
Oh,
could have
that's
called me
crazy.
out and told you, child, you having some hot flashes, which ain't no joke. But as far as a relationship, I haven't been in a relationship really while I was in menopause, and I'm so glad because I'm gonna tell you right now, when I be in the bed, I be doing, I call them sheet angels, right? You would just be like, I got the whole bed to myself. I got to roll this way, roll that way. I ain't got to worry about no,
Starfishing, big time
yeah,
starfish.
yeah, no joker next to me. Move. I'm sweating. Get off me. Don't be tapping me on the shoulder. I'm happy I ain't got to deal with that, right? And
Wow.
so I can't speak to that. But Rosemary, I know that you got a lot of information.
Yes, I do. And okay, so first of all, I keep telling women you don't have to go through all of those symptoms. It's possible. I think I'm the oldest one here. I'm almost 60 years old, and I have not had a hot flash. I have not had a anything that they say is a list of what you're supposed to be going through because of lifestyle. And I teach women in my menopause group and perimenopause. Because remember, menopause is only one day, right? That's when everything's over. That's the 12-month anniversary of not having menses anyway. Sorry, guys, we're getting into it. But so that is a one-day event. And then, but the time leading up to that is perimenopause, and that can take years. And guess what? Black women are twice as likely to experience perimenopausal symptoms more than their white counterparts or any other racial group. Why is that? A lot of it has to do with stress. A lot of it has to do with lifestyle, eating, not enough sleep, not enough enjoyment in life, not enough relaxation, not enough good food. All of these things contribute to whether or not you're going to be going down that chute, not even a rabbit hole. You're going to go down the chute of all of the things that are not beneficial to relationships and just your everyday living because of the food. And once you tweak the food, then and tweak the lifestyle practices and habits, you don't have to worry about it. And I'm telling you, everything's still going to be like, I don't know how. Are we past the 8 minute mark? Yes, we are. Okay. So everything's going to still be juicy and delicious and great, ladies, if you follow the menu for going through perimenopause without trauma. And it's easy to do. I'm telling you. And it's not anything that is hereditary. It's totally just menopause. I used to watch my auntie, who used to be with a huge fan before the little personal fans were out. She was fanning for her life, and it was just crazy to watch it because I was younger then and I didn't know what was going on. I was a kid and I was like, she was 40 years old and going through menopause. It was crazy. But people don't also realize that men are going through their midlife crisis as well. Andropause is a term that I'm familiar with, where men's testosterone dips, their libido dips, their ability to have erections dips, their even wanting to have sex dips because of their hormones that are going to shift. And it's basically all about testosterone for men and for women. So there are things that women can do to raise their testosterone and to even out their estrogen and progesterone levels so that you're not going through perimenopausal symptoms that are disruptive to your sleep, to your partner's sleep, to your mental health, to all of those things. And the same thing for men. I mean, for men to have to deal with that, that would be a lot. I do have a lot of clients who talk about their fear and anxiety of losing their partner because of the night sweats and the brain fog and the mood swings, all of these things, and the complete lack of interest in sex. And that's definitely difficult to go through, especially if you're a married couple having one person who's totally not interested. Well, I guess if the woman's going through perimenopausal symptoms and the man's going through andropausal symptoms, then maybe it's a good match. But in order to have healthy relationships, we can tweak what we're eating so that we're not going through those things because a lot of relationships do deteriorate and end because of biology. So if you
Yes.
want to know how to not be that way, then you can always hit me up and I will tell you the secrets. I will show you how to do it.
Yes, indeed. And, shifting back, because I know these two, I don't know what they got going on, but some tell me they too young to be in the menopause. But anyway, so we have Clarissa and Renee Way in the building. So the question that we're tackling, and Brother John on here is like, hold on, we need to get back to where the good women at. How menopause got. All right, we steering back, brother. Hold on, okay. So of course we're talking about where the good black women at. Clarissa, you came on first. Do you know where they are, and have you had people ask you where the good black women at?
Yeah, I know exactly where they are, and one of them is just here, and a few others are right next to me. The women who surround me are very good women. So yeah, here's where they are. What was the next part of the question?
And basically, have you had people ask you that where the good black women at? I know that's not how you say
Yeah.
grammatically correctly, but and what do you say to that? Like, why do you think people are wondering where the good black women are?
Okay, let me now for the wondering, because I'm sure all of us will say we're all here and all that. So for the wondering, I do get that question, and sometimes I just sit down with some of my male friends and I'm just like, they are there. You just need to find and figure out who you are. Then you find a partner who resembles or acts or emulates the behaviors that you would want in a good woman. Because if you're very good, you're grounded within yourself, and then you go ahead and find a woman who is not grounded. Of course, you're going to say they're not good women, but they are there. So you better be grounded within yourself. Grounded can mean anything for anyone, but things that resonate with you and just basic human decency, you will find someone who is also grounded and will have basic human decency. And also, I had I must say about healing, that's very true. You need to heal, you need to unlearn things that you learned in the previous life, the previous relationships, all those things that did not make sense then, you have to unlearn them and then learn new things for your partner in the future or for yourself, even just to make yourself a better person. So, yeah, those are the two main things. Beyond that, they get now personal to down to Clarissa. Yeah.
Miss Renee Way, where are the good black women? You don't even know. You're on mute.
Am I on mute? That is so crazy. Hi, everybody. Hi. I wish I could see the comments. They're muted on my side. But where are all the good women at? We right here, like Clarissa said, we are right here on your screens. All you just have to say is hi from the Good Women League. Hi. But to be honest, I have been asked that question. I was having a conversation with another guy this morning about how the womanhood, he calls it the womanhood system. I'm looking at our chats right now, and he says that system no longer exists. You guys are no longer good women because everything about y'all is so transactional. And I'm like, if you think about it, the males have always been about transactional things during relationship throughout. It's just that they were not really vocal about it, and now that we've joined the chat of saying, hey, if I get this and you give me that, then I will be 1000% fully invested in you type of vibe. They expect us to sleep, roll over, and just take it in. And I'm speaking in the context of South Africa. I like, that is just the basic experience of a typical South African man. I'm not here to bash anybody. People are different, but in our country, it's very much a transactional thing, and women are now woke, and we know what we want, and we no longer take things lying down. And I think that is where the problem is. So it got them asking themselves, where are the good women? They are right here, it's just that now they're more vocal.
And you brought up something I think a lot of people it seems to be a big, it has always been a topic of discussion, is transaction. I think we all kind of assume, or not even assume, we know that relationships are transactional, right? There's a give and take and all that. It should be anyway. Now I know that transactional thing has gotten redefined, especially with the, you know, you hear a lot of men say women want a man that's 6 feet, 6 figures, and I don't even know what the other six is. I let everybody else figure that out. A lot of women say they want that, but the reality is a lot of, you know, especially brothers aren't making 6 figures. The average salary, from what I understand, is about 50,000, give or take, for over here in the United States anyway. A brother, but you know, I had a very wise father, and he was like, most men should know there is no romance without the finance, right? He always used to say, "Don't no woman need a man to help her do nothing." Right? And again, that's not saying he got to go and spend a whole mortgage on you every time he take you out to eat. But damn, can I get an ice cream, a coffee? You know, without you thinking, "Why? What you gonna do for me?" It's coffee. I bring my
That
own
is so
coffee.
true. And you are called the G word, the GD, gold digger, if you ask for just the merely basic things. And I'm not saying women now we should always say, "Hey, if you don't make this kind of money, I don't want to be with you." Like, if there are levels to this relationship society, if that is your mantra where you say a man should do 6 figures, blah 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 blah, date in those circles, and instead of just going below your standards and then shaming when they can't meet your criteria. So I just say to women, if you want a billionaire, go to the billionaires club, do what billionaires do, get the transaction you need, but don't be shaming people that can't afford. Why are you in their circle in the first place? So date where you feel like your criteria is met. And I feel like a lot of people, both men and women, we reach for higher standards, or we go above what we can provide. You know, I can't be out here in the clubs every day and I want a corporate man. It does not make sense. Like, what am I bringing to the table? And you can't be a man that looks, yeah, I mean, all sorts, or does not do anything or contribute anything, and you want a Dimitra. It does not make sense. It doesn't make sense.
I don't know if they want me. I'm a little off my rocker, especially at this ripe old age. They don't know what they gonna get. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, you're right, and I think y'all please jump in for the time that we have left. We got about 8 minutes. I just think it's per the person. You know, I hear a lot of times that don't know billionaire, you know, want some woman with, you know, different kids and been married and ran through. I'm like, well, do you know who Jeff Bezos is? His wife now, you know, is a baby mama. I think she got two baby daddies, and she kissing 50, I mean 60, you know, and he went and got, so you just don't know what people want. But to Kellen's original question, what do you want, right? What do you want? And go in pursuit of that. Because what you want, somebody else may not want that or whatever. But ladies, if you're looking for a billionaire, you never know. He may be out there for you. I don't know what you got to do to get him, but he might be there.
Yeah, I agree. Go for what you want. And, you know, because oftentimes men will say, I want a strong woman. I want a woman who is intelligent and smart and funny. They have their list as well, right? And then when you get that, especially the strong woman, oh, you run your mouth too much. You're too hard. You're too this. And then black women, and then it becomes black women are too hard. Black women are too mouthy. Black women are this and that. And it's like, well, what do you want? Right? You got to decide, what do you want? And that narrative that all black women are too hard and too this and too that, miss me with that, please. You know, at the end of the day, if you don't want it, that's fine. But we as black women, I will speak for myself anyway. I am a strong black woman. I am. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I feel like sometimes that's touted as it's a bad thing to be a strong Black woman who's assertive and knows what she wants and will, can defend herself and all of those things. What do you all think?
Can y'all consider the source on the people who are saying this? If you're, catering to the bottom feeders and they're saying this, and we could say any influencer's name that is out there saying crazy stuff every day just for the likes because they have nothing else to fall back on. Always consider the source and say, would you like to be around that person? Is that a good person? Is that somebody you'd want your kids around and trust them to be around? And I know we got 2 more minutes, so I'm gonna, hit stage
Well,
left.
let me just say, in my experience, it's not social media people, because to me, I would never really take that in. I would not foster what a social media person has to say about Black women. It's people I know, even people in my family who happen to, not be with Black women and say, oh, well, you Black women, including your sisters, are that. So I just wanted to say it's people I know who are not with Black women that say this about Black women. And they'll lead with, I'll be like, okay, why is it that you don't date why is it that you date non-melanated women? And then they start by answering because Black women. And I'm like, no. Don't start that way. Don't start with answering because Black women. Just tell me why you choose to not be with, to be with a non-melanated. Tell me about the non-melanated woman. But you see, you're always coming back to the Black woman. And it's like, no, leave us alone then. Leave us alone.
Well, I think there needs to be some concessions. And I'm very honest. Yeah, there are some sisters who got a lot to say, and they sometimes need to, bud your mouth, okay?
That is true. I will say that. That is true.
It's just true, right? But then on the other side of that, I'm one of those women. I like to talk a lot. I'm not one of those. I'm just a talker, right? Obviously, you can't do this unless you like to talk. So, if you're a man and you don't like a woman that likes to talk and communicate, then don't be with me because I'm gonna talk. Okay, I'm not about to sit up in no corner like no vacuum cleaner and wait for you to turn me on. Okay, I'm gonna have something to say. Again, obviously it's how you say it, but I think there's arguments on both sides. Yeah, you got some sisters that just be cackling, and then you got some who's like, well, am I talking too much or am I being disrespectful? Right? Because I came
Hello.
across that, in one of my relationships. Oh, you just talk all the time. I'm like, okay, am I nagging? No, you ain't nagging. You just talking. So, oh, you just want a woman to be quiet. And I don't know how to do that for too long.
That's very interesting. The one thing, and the question of what do you want, I always find it very interesting when you ask women what they want in their ideal man. They have a long list of what they want. When you ask men what they want, their lists are very short. And I think that there's something that to be said about the differences in what people say that they want. And a lot of the times we need to get back to who we are as human beings because we become so hardened and we become so jaded with what's out there because a lot of what's out there, social media is just presenting and glorifying the lowest basis common denominators as to what women are and what real women are. A lot of the women that are walking around are not real completely from head to toe. And men are then reacting to that because there's something to look at, but it's nothing to commit to. So women have to take the responsibility and at least acknowledge that we need to be real. I'm not saying anything against anybody that makes a choice to enhance themselves in any way, but I'm saying that what you put out there is what you're going to get back. So if you are a good woman, and for the men who are looking for good women, they're where they've always been. They're at their job, they're at church, they're at home, they're at I don't know, they're at the exercise club for those who are really taking care of themselves. That's where they are. But all of this philandering, and doing things big and shout, making it rain with money and people being just all about transaction and not being about looking at one another as human beings. Because I think the statistics show that men love more than women. men really love. And when they make a commitment, if they've made that commitment, then that's it. A lot of women are looking at options because he's not providing me with this, he's not giving me enough attention, so I'm going elsewhere. And it shouldn't be like that if we're looking at each other as human beings. That's just my take on it.
Okay. Oh, okay. I can take that. I can take what you said when you like men once they made a decision they stick by it. But I feel like women, the way we are always looking for options or this or that, I think I'm gonna speak for from my experience or single mothers. I'm a young mom, and I am forced to be strong. I'm forced to present myself a certain way, and I cannot with the rah rah. I want this. I want you to be like this. I want women that are like I need to keep my options open because I cannot afford to be not bottled, but I can't afford to be broken down. And I've realized that a lot of black men, again in the context of South Africa, like a lot of them, they like clowning around, they like playing around. No one ever sticks to what they want. Do you understand? So I cannot afford to be in a limbo. I can't afford to be in a limbo where someone is still figuring out, am I the one? Am I? Whereas I have people depending on me. So I think a lot of black women, if you've covered this point, are coming on too strong, or they communicate too well, or they're always talking like the way Dimitra always says, because wrong, if I'm making sense.
Well, listen, again, it all boils down to what you want, right? And that's we said at the top, at least I said on the top, communication is my top. So it's, it's
Mhm.
subjective. It's about what you look for in a partner and whether they're the right fit. But I agree with you, Demetra. Let me just retract part of my statement, which is not, there are some black women that are just, they are exactly what is described. But I'm just saying, we can't say all of them are that way.
But can we also say, and I say this privately to some of y'all, you want a talkative women when you are on in the hospital and somebody who's going to fight that nurse, not to take you off all those the ventilator. And so nobody is just going to sit there and be like, yes, yes, yes. And when people do go overseas and they get a woman who English might be her third or fourth language, or she doesn't speak English at all, and they do it by translators like 90 Day Fiance, y'all got to understand that a lot of people come up missing and are dead. They don't come back. And a lot of them come back broke. Ask Demetra. She hooked me up with a gentleman who thought he had everything, and he wrote a beautiful book about it. And I got to interview him, and the story is better than a movie, and it's real life. So be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it.
Ain't that the truth? And unfortunately, we are over time, out of time. And of course, we could be here forever having these conversations. It's a lot of conversation. But I would just say in closing, I think we've all, even some in the comment section, some in the comment section, will say that there's plenty of good black women out there. They're there, you got to give some of them a reason to come out of retirement. I'm not above it. I'll come out of retirement. Right now I'm just kind of enjoying, not being in the streets. I'm too old for the streets anyway. But yeah, so we exist. So anyway, we love and appreciate every last one of y'all. And John said, what about the culture of polygamy? Are y'all haters on that culture? Listen, like I said, we could be here forever. Polygamy is not for me. Okay, might be for somebody
Not for
else.
me either.
I'm not. I can't knock
Wait,
it for
wait, Demetra. A good storyteller always has them hanging. They need to check out the next bad episode or come behind the app. And if you want more, we ain't gonna give you everything in an hour. We can't do that.
So with that, we're gonna do all the rest of the stuff on the app. You can get that on AfricanDiasporaNews.org, or you can go to your Google, your Apple Play Store, and listen. When I say we're going to be having these conversations more, we are going to be having these conversations more on the app. I like to talk about polygamy because, yes, there are some people who want to be, in a polygamous relationship. Like I said, I just ain't heard. Okay. And there's a lot of women and men in polygamous relationships, and they just don't know it. That's a topic right there, ain't it? And they just don't know. It's a hostage polygamous relationship. Like, what? It's you, me, and he? I didn't know. Right. So anyway,
until you get that text message.
Huh?
Until you get that phone call or text message, you may not know you.
Yeah, we in a relationship. Who is this we? Okay. So anyway, Brian says hostage negotiation is crazy. Yeah, I don't need to negotiate for me. I'm a free my damn self. Anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. We will see you on the next one. Peace.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.